Welcome to OkState Daily. Casey Porter here. So glad that you decided to tune in. Hey, fans, it is coming down the stretch time of basketball season. This podcast, we're going to talk about the Cowgirls, their trip to the state of Utah, which was a mixed bag. The Cowgirls lost on Saturday. They're calling it the two-step because every time, when these Big 12 teams go to Utah, they play both BYU and Utah on a Saturday, then a Tuesday. It is a tough road trip. We saw it was the worst basketball of the year probably, other than maybe the K-State game and then the game at home against Texas Tech. But for the men's team, it was a tough trip, and it did not start out good for the Cowgirls. The Cowgirls lost to BYU on Saturday by 4 points. They were down by 9 points. 9 points with, I believe, 45 seconds to go in the third quarter of the Utah game. How about Micah Gray? That's when Micah Gray hit a three-pointer. The Cowgirls went into the fourth quarter down 6. And then a couple of minutes later, I think over like a 5-minute span, OSU went on a 9-0 run to tie the game. Micah Gray actually hit a second three-pointer in a row to start the scoring in the fourth quarter for the Cowgirls to bring it within 3. And then Jaden Wooten, how about the freshman? This is a young girl. Hey, it's not like every game she's scoring 1,000 points, right? But it's like whenever the game's on the line, that's when she does her best work. She shows up. You can trust her in the crisis moment. She's a foxhole type player, the type of player that you trust with the game on the line. Jaden Wooten hit a conventional three-point play, and then praise Egareba. How about the incredible game between her and Tina Magassa? Just a fantastic game in the low blocks, because I'll tell you what, the Cowgirls, Anna Gredasi only went 1 for 9 from three-point range. I know Micah Gray hit quite a few three-pointers. She was definitely the best shooter from the outside. But Staley Hurd only scored 4 points, right? So this was a game where the Cowgirls really had to work the ball inside to get high percentage shots. They were able to do that. And then eventually, once they were able to do that, they were able to throw the ball back out and get some three-pointers by Micah Gray. And just really, to be honest with you, after having lost to BYU on Saturday, being down to Utah by 9, this is a team that could have quit. They could have said, you know what, screw it, we're in Utah. I don't even know where the hell this place is at. Never been here. It's cold. I'm ready to go home. And they could have just packed it up and went home and lost 2 games. They did not. They fought back, and when Egareba hit that putback and then hit her free throw to go up 3. I'll tell you this too. As a coach, there's different types of motivations. Sometimes your players are locked in and they're playing well and everything goes well. We saw that. We've seen that many different times with the Cowgirls where they come out and everything's going perfect. They're making all their shots. They're playing good defense. They're stealing the ball and everything's going well. At those times, sometimes those are the hardest moments as a coach because you're just wired to want to help and want to coach at all times. And those are actually the moments where you got to just shut it down, make sure you don't overcoach and kind of go all Billy Tubbs on it and just roll the basketball out there and let them play. That's hard for coaches to do sometimes. But sometimes that's the case. We've seen Coach Hoyt do that. There's other times to where the Cowgirls or any team comes out sluggish. We've definitely seen that. West Virginia, of course, give West Virginia a lot of credit. But, that would be an example of coming out sluggish, not the right type of energy. The positive energy isn't flowing, that kind of thing. Those are the moments where you call a timeout, you call your team over, and you go a little bit more old school on them, right? You get into them a little bit, you chew their tail, and you try to challenge their manhood or womanhood, if you will, kind of an old school manner, right? And those kind of moments. And then there's other moments to where this is what Tuesday felt like to me, where your team is, they're hustling their butts off. They're into it. Every time you make a shot, the entire bench is trying to inject positive energy into all the girls on the bench. Your coach is into it. And you really have a good vibe to the team that night. But simply put, you're just not playing well. The ball's not going in the hole. Anna Gredasi is missing shots. Staley Hurd is not scoring. And despite the fact that everything off the court, everything, from a effort and that type of aspect of the game is perfect, it's just the results on the floor aren't. That's when, as a coach, you have to do your best work. That's when you have to keep from getting negative, and that's when you need to really make sure your girls or your boys or whoever you're coaching understand, hey, just keep the positive energy. Results will happen if you keep playing with the same kind of energy. That's when, as a coach, you really got to shoot the positive vibes into the veins of your players. That's when you have to support them the most, because they need to understand that, hey, sometimes the results don't happen in sports, but they will eventually if you keep working the way, if your process is right? And so from that perspective, I'm making a short story long here, like I like to do. I could not have been more proud of Coach Hoyt. Coach Hoyt could have easily turned negative after losing to BYU, after getting down, after seeing shot after shot not being made, and seeing, just kind of a really good opportunity against a good Utah team kind of slip away. Coach Hoyt could have got frustrated. She could have got negative. She did not in any way, shape, or form do that. She shot positive energy into the veins of the girls, and I'll be darned if they didn't go on a 9-0 run, tie the game, and then win the game with the putback by Praise Egareva with less than a minute to go. So what an exciting game. It was just absolutely awesome. Micah Gray was absolutely the answer all day long with the three-point shots. Egareva obviously had the great game, but Micah Gray, in my opinion, the biggest shot of the game was the three-pointer she hit at the end of the third quarter when the Cowgirls were down 9. Second biggest shot was the next three-pointer she hit to put the Cowgirls down just 3. She was the leading scorer. She scored a lot, and she scored at the most critical moments. So Micah Gray, without her, the Cowgirls absolutely don't win whatsoever. Praise Egareva. How about 10 huge points? But 10 points, that does not even speak close to the amount of volumes that she deserves in terms of the praise. That is a pun intended for her. 10 points, 11 boards, 4 of 7 from the field, 5 offensive rebounds. Check this out, too. How about the 5 offensive rebounds? OSU outscored Utah 18-8 off of second chance points, and that was a huge factor in the game, and that was largely because of Tina Magassa and Praise Egareva. No doubt about that. So between Egareva and Magassa, 10 offensive rebounds, that was a difference in the game. That Micah Gray scoring basically at will down the stretch. And don't forget, not only the offensive rebounds, Egareva also had the game-winning shot and put the Cowgirls in the lead for the final time at less than a minute to go. Anna Gredasi, gonna say this, she was the second leading scorer and was only 1 for 9 from the three-point line. She put the ball on the floor. She used her dribble to get to the bucket. She used her dribble to get fouled. And once she got fouled, she made I think 8 of 9 from the free throw line. 1 of 9 from 3, 3 of 14 overall. So not a good shooting night, but still was the second leading scorer with 15. And she also had 4 assists. So despite the 1 of 9 from 3, despite the 3 of 14 overall, Anna Gredasi still found a way to contribute to almost 30 of the 68 points for the Cowgirls. So the nights that don't go perfectly, hey, we know there's going to be nights where Anna Gredasi comes out and every shot she throws up there goes in. Okay, we know those nights are going to happen. The nights that are the most impressive to me are when the ball's not going through the hole. How can she then positively affect her team and really continue to help her team win in those types of games? So from that perspective, Tuesday night in a lot of ways was the most impressive game of the year. Not scoring-wise or any of that or shooting-wise, but just from all of the aspects. For me, as a coach, I was just so impressed with Anna Gredasi and the way that she played. And then Jaden Wooten again just shows up. She's a primetime player when the game's on the line. And Staley Hurd, I'll say this about her. These are her 2 worst games of the year, back-to-back scoring-wise. You could not tell it with her mannerisms. Hey, the mark of a leader is not how people follow you when things are going perfect. I mean, everybody wants to follow Staley Hurd when she's scoring 30 points, right? Everybody wants. That's easy. It's easy to get people to follow you when you're scoring 30 points, or in football, Ollie Gordon, whenever you're getting 200 yards a game. What I want to see in terms of whether you're actually truly a leader or not is how people follow you when you're not scoring and you're not the primary focus of your team? Do people still follow you in those situations? No doubt about it. Even though she wasn't scoring a lot, Staley Hurd still was the leader of that team. That lets me know everything I need to know about her. And Tennant Magassa, how about her? 9 points, 4 of 8 from the field, 6 rebounds. 4 of them were on the offensive glass. Again, her and Prey Zagareva, 10 offensive rebounds, led to a big disadvantage, or advantage, I should say, for the Oklahoma State Cowgirls in second chance points, and that was a big part of the game. And I mentioned Coach Hoyt, how proud I was of her. So Saturday, another really good team coming in, another former Pac-12 team, Colorado, coming in at 2 o'clock in the afternoon to Gallagher-Iba Arena. The Cowgirls need everybody they can get. The Buffs are 17-8. They're 8-6, so definitely a team that is capable of taking down the Cowgirls if we don't provide the right amount of energy in Gallagher-Iba, and if the Cowgirls don't bring it and play a really good game. So hope to see you there Saturday afternoon at 2 o'clock in Gallagher-Iba. So, hey, I hope you enjoyed our Cowgirl podcast today. I'm Casey Porter for OkState Daily. Go Pokes!